Welcome to the Dubcast with Dubside. This is a special guest edition of the Dubcast. I'll be interviewing Maligiaq Padilla, a Greenlander who started his kayaking career in the 1990s and won the championship at the age of 16 in 1998. Went on to win it another maybe 10 times or so, and has been extremely influential in the field of traditional kayaking for the past 35 years. I asked him to give us an update on his latest situation, and he talks about the changes in his life that COVID brought about, how he had to leave Alaska and move to Nuuk. He mentions Elizabeth, that's his wife, now his ex-wife. And I talked to him while we hung out in his apartment in Nuuk, and he had some matok he was cutting up and we were eating it. And he talks about his job that he has now working with foster care kids. He describes that. He has plans to lead more trips in the future. And I asked him about the new airport that Nuuk will be getting. And he talked about the special kayaking stroke, Kushastruni Palnok, that I mentioned in episodes 61 and 62. We discussed that. I asked him his recollections about the cultural strip mining episode. That was Dubcast number 35. And I ended by asking him about the future, both his own personal future and the future of Greenland as a whole. So this runs about 45 minutes. Okay, today is Friday, the 26th of July, 2024. And I, after, what has it been, 5, 6, 7 years, am in the presence of Maligiaq Padilla.
Yeah, 5 years, huh? 6 years.
It was 2007, it was in Asyut, right?
Oh, wow. 7 years, 6 years. Oh, that must have been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since then, I started doing this podcast, and your name comes up all the time in the podcast. 'Cause you can't talk about Greenland kayaking without Maligiaq coming up. So I'm interested to know where you're at now, and what you're doing, and how things are going.
Well, that was in 2020, at springtime. COVID got worse.
Yeah.
I was living in Homer, Alaska, not too far from where my kids.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the whole Alaska connection.
And I had a plan for the year to do a lot of kayaking trips.
In Alaska?
Including Alaska.
Okay.
And Greenland and Canada.
Yeah.
It's like an 8-month plan.
Mm-hmm.
Sorted out. The COVID came in when I was in Canada teaching kayak building.
Yeah.
That was during just before the skinning.
Of the kayaks.
Yeah, I lose all my 17 students from Nunavik Sivunitsa because we had to be separated because of the COVID.
Yeah.
It was kind of strange.
Oh man.
And I got stuck in Canada, Montreal.
Yeah.
All the flights were canceled, and
This is like just the beginning of 2020, right? When all that hit, like
springtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was crazy, and I stayed extra few days in Canada, and I made it to Alaska.
All right.
And there was a time that I knew all my work, including the schools that I teach kayak with. Were canceled because everybody had to be isolated or whatever, mask and all that. And I made a quick choice, talk with the landlord that I rent the house from. I rented a really nice
in
Homer, Alaska.
In Alaska. Yeah.
I rented a beach house so I can just like go and paddle, which is nice because in Anchorage you have to drive at least 1.5, 2 hours to get the good water. But in Homer,
You had purchased a house in Alaska, in Anchorage, was it? Or
yeah, we
and then
purchased.
you sold that, and then I can't keep track of what your changes are. You're a dynamic, moving kind of guy.
Yes. Yeah, we have at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, at least maybe 4 houses together with Elizabeth. Buy it and sell it and buy a new one.
All right.
It's kind of, yeah.
All right.
Elizabeth's activity, one of her activity, like to move, like to fix the house and move into a little nicer and that.
Oh.
So we kind of make that, and she loved doing that.
In the U.S., we say flipping houses. You buy a house that needs work, you fix it up, then you sell it for more, and then you go somewhere else. Flipping a house.
Yeah. Kind of like that. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, we had some houses in Alaska. You want me to cut you some metik out later?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is fresh matok you just got sent from, where is it?
Maligiaq, it's in north of Upernavik. There was a cut by the hunter.
Wow.
There was a really good trade for a kayak.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, so in 2020, I had to make a really quick choice because Alaska, it's not socialism, and if I don't work and if I can't pay, I know where it's going. So it was my hardest choice that I had to make to leave my kids and Alaskan family. What about the meat? You wanna meat?
I'll take some, yeah.
So yeah, in 2020, about in summertime, and luckily I have some friends that they employed me. The work was in the northern Greenland.
Okay.
From Upernavik to Siuapaluk. It's about renovating Bilaksuisok. It's Koeni. It's a store. It's a Bilaksuisok store.
Oh, store.
Yeah, it has. It's a big organization renovating the stores and houses.
So it's like the kind of carpentry work you've been trained for that you know.
Yeah, and we were living in. How long was it? Probably 100 feet ship.
Yeah.
And I have a shift, and we just have to go back to boat after we work. There was very intense work that I haven't done this kind of work in a while because 7 days a week, minimum 12 hours a day, up to 20 hours a day for 2 months. I was working, but I get used to it. But it was a lot of work, and
like years ago you did that until then you had enough kayak work to handle.
Yeah.
So this was going back to that for a little bit.
Yeah, and when we're done with the work in Siuapaluk, because these guys were already started when I joined them because I just moved to Greenland. It was like a right away job, which is great.
Yeah. Well,
after we're done, they asked me, where do you want to go next? I didn't have any plans. I didn't ask anybody. I have no place to live. I could have stayed with my family in Sisimiut, but I remember in 2019 I was in Sisimiut. My friend asked me, Mickey Thompson, the musician. You know him?
Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's singing now with Tomba Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. They played in Kokotok the other day at the end of the competition.
Yeah.
So,
He asked me if I ever needed a place. He has a basement.
Yeah.
Just needed a little work.
Okay.
So I call him like, yep, it's all yours. So I totally renovate the basement and turning into an apartment. And
This is
live
in where?
2020.
No, what town?
Here, nope.
In Nuuk, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, and I work for the carpentry company that I go to carpentry school with for a year, and this foster home that I work now in 2021 keep asking me if I want to join the team. They have some like Greenland's strongest Maligiaq, the soccer player, the lead, and all these athletics working there to raise these boys.
Okay.
And
It's a foster home where you're raising kids. That's a job that they employ people that help with that.
yeah, under the
That's-
government, yeah.
Okay, part of the government. Yeah.
Anyway, so two of them I say no. I'm not ready working with kids yet, but and the third time, okay, I'll try. If I don't like it, I go back to carpentry. Anyway, so I've been there for over 3 years now.
Yeah.
And we raise the boys between 11 to 18 years old. When they turn 18,
So these are what we in the U.S. we would say at-risk kids from like troubled backgrounds or there's issues they have to.
yeah, domestic abuse parents and stuff.
Okay.
So the idea is my work is a therapy for them to like raise them in a better life.
Okay.
Like Monday to Saturday, they woke up at 5 o'clock and running 5 kilometers.
Yeah.
That's part of their like activity.
Are they all fit enough to do that, or you have to?
Yep.
Really?
We'll make them, and after school,
Wow.
I know the 5 kilometer, or I know they're like hiking or kayaking, and it had to be 2 activities a day
Okay.
with these boys.
Wow.
Anyway, so that's the kind of work, and we do a lot of hunting, and when we catch a lot of subsistence, I can say that now,
Subsistence hunting. Okay.
and we send out a lot of meat to the family. And we keep a lot of them to ourselves. With our work,
Okay.
so we can eat them all year round. So that's kind of a nice.
In the U.S., we would immediately think, wait, these are at-risk kids, and you're giving them guns to hunt with, right?
Yeah.
But in Greenland, I guess that's not a big deal.
No. I mean, we wouldn't know before we give them gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can only give them the loaded gun. They can carry the gun without the bullet. Only the caribou is in front of us, and we
Okay.
have to manage the situation with the boys. Yeah.
Now seeing like the gun shops and things and things in people's houses, all I see are shotguns and rifles. No handguns. Is that pretty much the case here in Greenland? You don't have handguns, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. For some reason, they don't allow us to have the pistols, handguns.
Yeah.
In Alaska, I have few pistols. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I have my rifles under the bed. If you want to see them.
If I touch them when I get on a plane, they'll swab my hands and all the alarms ring, right? Don't they? I've heard stories about when they do the testing with the hand swabs or your luggage and things. If you've been near the gunpowder, that it'll register. 'Cause then they have to extra search you because you might be.
Oh, is that what it is? All these monitors, they swap you? I never knew what that's for.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Certain places, like if you meet some criteria, they'll for a little extra test, they take the little swab thing and they'll. Or if your thing goes through the metal detector and they don't like what it looks like, they'll swab the suitcase. They'll just open up and swab a bunch of stuff. Because if there was a bomb or a gun, that little residue would be on it, and that would show up, and then they would be able to. I think that's how it works.
I never knew what that was because I've been swat so many times. I guess I was just lucky not to get any gun residues.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So now you're still working with the foster kid things. That's still what your job.
Yep. Yeah.
It's going pretty good.
Pretty good. I mean, after 3 years, I can say, we make some good changes for the kids. We just released 2 of them when they turn 18, so they have their own life. But if they still need guidance for my work, we still guide them. But I think it was a good success with 2 boys that they left the foster home.
Okay.
With hopefully a good future.
Yeah.
Because not every time.
So there's a staff of other people taking shifts. It's like you're not responsible for them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right?
Usually there's a shift.
Yeah. Okay.
You have a 25-hour shift.
Okay.
You have to be 2 people with 6 boys.
Okay.
6 boys. But sometimes you have to work alone with all these boys.
Okay.
And it can be pretty intense and challenged with all the cleaning the rooms, the laundry, cooking, and because every day we have to swap the floor, to clean the house, and anything need to be done. So I just had.
So this is a facility where they live at, and you come when you're on duty, but then you can go home to your place.
Yeah.
After your shift.
Yeah, we were 9 people. So we take, let's say, normally it works like 25-hour shift.
Yeah.
And you take 3 days off.
Okay.
3 to 4 days off,
Oh.
depending on who's on a vacation. Yeah.
Do these kids know about your reputation as a kayak person in Greenland? Or
I think that was pretty much the ideal of the work because we have the best soccer player, and we have this
name athlete
role models like strongest Greenlander who won in Iceland, Denmark, and Finland. We had the strongest person, including almost all the Europe. Wow. It's like my work.
So they're like part of this team of 9 or in that category. Wow.
So we have some like strong, one female can go long distance. So it kind of like a work with the kids can look up to.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
But are there kids that? I mean, there's got to be some kids really out of shape, non-athletic kids. Are they just put in a different program or?
No,
Really?
I think they are still young enough.
So you can shape them up and get them.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the whole idea.
That's what you get paid for, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And so you're thinking about doing more expedition stuff for paying clients, kind of thing, like you did in 2017 or 18 or whatever that was. Is that part of the plan for the future?
It was not exactly the plan. I guess after 5 years of not running the kayak expeditions, I was co-guiding with the company from Kayak Asia, which is 19 people, mostly from Singapore, some of them from Hong Kong. And I was, a little nervous to have so many people. It's 2 groups, but it was success, and I feel like, I miss this job. I miss being in the nature. I miss kayaking. This used to be full-time my job, and just like, And I did the trip recently, last week. Okay. We just had it finished with the Americans. And it was success in the Nuuk Fjord. Okay. And more and more of those, kind of getting me on more. After Ilulissat trip, I believe I have at least 4+ trips next year.
Oh yeah?
I already wanted to do it. Some of them working with the Kayak Asia, like I worked with this summer, and some of them myself, but I have to have an independent company in order to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still kind of waiting for it. When everything calms down, I can try to arrange it.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's an exciting future. Yeah.
How do you feel about the new airports Greenland is getting?
Well, for now, I see is a lot of delays.
Delays?
Yep. Because the nuke weather, it's unpredictable, and they be known a lot as most delayed town.
Oh yeah.
But
to
on
put
the
it-
other hand, the bigger airplanes could land. I think it'll be good for international travelers.
Yeah,
They don't
going
have
right
to
to
go
Nuuk.
to Iceland or Copenhagen and getting all the layover.
Yeah.
They can only fly like one direct flight. I think if the weather is good, I think it's good.
All right. Well, I can see Nuuk is expanding it substantially.
Crazily, yeah.
They're building all over the place.
They are crazily growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people want to live in Nuuk now.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if you have, many more tourists coming every year through the airport, that will kind of change.
Yeah, the tourism will expand. That's for sure. I work and talk with some of the tourism here, and they're really excited about it.
Yeah.
I almost think that I should just start my own business and doing my own tourism here and
Yeah.
some kayaking again.
Yeah.
And I got when was that? Beginning of May. I got my captain up to 79 feet.
Captain's license.
Captain license
Wow.
for commercial boats.
Nice.
So,
Captain Maligiaq. Sir.
and I'm excited that it's an international license.
Yeah.
We get to learn all the international water
Yeah.
laws and stuff.
That take a lot of study and work to get all that through that? Or?
No, it was all smushed it in a lot of hours when
Okay.
we took that class.
Okay.
So I was happy to have it because in order to transport the boys I work for, we need to have a license,
Okay,
even though our
yeah.
boat is smaller. But to have this, the license is also gives me opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe fishing trawlers, maybe a tourism boat. I don't know.
Yeah.
But opportunities out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to ask you in my Dubcast, I've talked about lots of different things, and some of them include the way to paddle a kayak called kusrasrasrunipalnok.
Yeah.
And I've asked you before about that in the past, but I did an episode of really breaking that down a whole bunch. And the kayak hunter in Kolkatok, who died in 2010, Ephraim Adolfson, you remember that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
So the interview I did with him in 2008, he had mentioned kusrasrasrunipalnok. And like everybody, he said, I don't do this, but that's what the real fast guys, the fastest guys would paddle that way. And I didn't realize till just recently that what he said in the translation, he says, I tell them to paddle like this, not like this. And I went back and looked at the video because in the video he's showing the motion. I never actually seen somebody demonstrate how it worked before, and he's doing that little wrist thing at the end. And so I went through the stories. There's some from John Heath and some other stuff from H.C. Peterson. And there's two different stories, and it has the distance the person paddled, and it gives a time of how long it took. And if you calculate out, according to what that data is, that's faster than the Olympic paddlers go. Now, if that's been exaggerated or not, I don't know. But it seems to me, if somebody really were to work on this stroke, they could get up to that level and go compete in the Olympics and give the Olympic racers a run for their money. But in order to do that, it would take years to really work that stroke out, the strength you need for that.
Yeah.
Because the seal hunters, they spent their whole lives getting that to work just right.
All year around and a lot of paddling time, and that's the life, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I can imagine that. I've never seen somebody, but yeah.
Now, at one point, I thought I was under the impression that John Peterson, Nuke John Peterson, not John Peterson from Elusa, but Nuke John Peterson back in the 90s used that stroke in the races. Is that
No, he used a slide stroke.
a fly stroke? Not that. Okay.
Not that one, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And he used the
Yeah.
kayak without the ribs. It's a triangle kayak.
Oh, like this, yeah, what we call the storm kayak. It was-
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, really.
Very tippy,
Okay,
the kayak, yeah.
all right. Because then I read that Greg Stamer had talked to Akaluk Hilman from Upernavik. Well, I remember Akaluk, and Akaluk had told him that there were some people back then in Upernavik who would do that, and there's some talking about. It's been described as you're pushing water up on the back of the kayak, but that some of the descriptions say that. But I think Akaluk said you don't. The way he knows, you're not actually getting the paddle under the kayak. It's just pushing up next to the kayak. So there's different versions of that.
There's a book, I believe it's from Hosi Peterson,
Yeah.
was also talking about, it's a similar story, that you like twist your paddles
Yeah.
and just kind of give a lot of pressure underneath the kayak. I don't know if that will left you.
No, I know the
stern.
book you're talking about. I've looked at that excerpts of that. It has the description of the guy from I think, the Nortalik to another town, and how long it took, and all that sort of thing. I've looked at that. So that guy, it's printed in there the description of what you're doing with your wrists. But I haven't got any. I think
There's
that.
also another story by the Hosi Peterson, paddled from Gangamute to Sisimiut
Okay.
in the storm days.
Okay.
He was either surfing, but he was with the wind and the current. It took
Okay.
him, how long was it? 140 kilometers in 12 hours?
140 kilometers in 12 hours.
Yeah.
All right.
I did, like, for example, when we did Bamute, Maligiaq, and back with the 10 portages, the fastest I did was 12 hours and 44 minutes.
All right.
That was in, when was that, 2012?
Oh, the Palmy. Oh, that race. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 120.
I looked at that race. Yeah.
Yeah,
I calculated that. Yeah. Your speed came out to about. Was it 9 or 10 kilometers per hour? Whereas an Olympic, somebody training with a wing paddle can get up to 11 or so. The Olympic racers, theirs come out to, I think it's about 18 kilometers per hour. But that Palmy race, and I wrote an article about that in the Sea Kayaker magazine. The original guy in 1937 who did that, the story was he did it in 3 hours.
Which one?
From Palmy to what's the
Maligiaq.
Maligiaq, yeah.
Okay.
Now, your best time was just over 6 hours.
Yeah.
So if he did it in half that fast, well, his speed that would beat Olympic racers if that's true. At 3 hours.
Yeah, if he did the portage, yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what route he took, but covering that distance in that amount of time, that's Olympic speed, more than Olympic speed. So I'm thinking if somebody were to really work this stroke out and spend the years and years required to do it, theoretically they could get Olympic medals out of it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I can imagine all the Greenlanders back in old days, they work so hard.
Yeah.
It's the survival tool. Yeah, that's fast.
And Ephraim Adelson, he said that it has to be flat water. if there's waves or rough stuff, it doesn't. You can't get the bow to go down. That's the impression I got from what he said.
Unless you make your kayak, the bow is lower than the stern. I don't know.
But pushing water up on the back of the kayak.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in the kayak and using your paddle to do that, that's just going to pull the back of the kayak down and pushing up
With
under
the paddle, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with the paddle. So I can't see how the bow goes down if you're pushing water up here.
Yeah, that's.
If there was something else, like a whale blowing on the back of the kayak, that's pushing up on the back. That's going to bring the front down. But if you're trying to do it sitting in the kayak, the force of your paddle is going to pull the back down.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I don't know. Maybe some sort of trick with I don't know.
Well, I get the impression that getting that angle as you move it just right, that's what takes the years of getting it working out just right.
Just like when we do kanadachu ibilaktu, there's also a trick to it, right? Little stroke.
Okay, like upside down with the sculling.
Yeah.
Kind of atachi good ipilashu.
Yeah.
You got to get the angle both directions and. Yeah. Well, it's at this point it's still a big mystery, but I'm putting the word out. Somebody try it. If you work hard. Yeah. Now I did another episode in the podcast about, I called it, that's the one called cultural strip mining. Mm-hmm. Cultural strip mining was, remember the film crew in Asia?
Yeah, from
some European country.
Czech Republic, yeah.
Is it Czech Republic? I thought it was, all right, anyway. All the trouble they put you through?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I should never say yes to them. But,
Yeah. Well, I as I described it, they wanted, for the rolling, they wanted like judging for the rolling, but you couldn't judge because you needed to be in the water because the guy couldn't roll. You needed to be able to rescue him. You remember that? The woman could roll, had one roll, but the guy, we tried to teach him the night before, and he was hopeless. And so you were in the water next to him, and they had the cameras there, and they wanted to change the rules to say as many rolls as you do, you get a point for each roll, which is not how we really score the rolls. And so they wanted me to like count the rolls, and then maybe I didn't look into it enough. So they had Ali Bach standing next to me, and Ali Bach would say, the two of us would agree on how many rolls a person did.
Yeah.
And I was pretty close to just telling them to get lost, like what you people are doing. Like they needed a good talking to. But I decided that I'm not into it. It's not for me to decide what to tell these people. I'll take my cue from Ali Bach. If they can convince Ali Bach to go along with it, then I'll go ahead. So Ali Bach went along with it, and I followed along, and they filmed us, and we did what we wanted them to. But later on, I thought about it, and I said, no, I should have, because anything that any tourist does in Greenland that is bad, most Greenlanders, all you tourists are the same. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like them. So what they're doing is reflecting bad on me, and therefore I had standing to say to them, look, cut it out. You're messing this up here.
Yeah. I should have never said no to them, but we didn't know what the whole idea was. Yeah,
we thought they were doing a documentary about Greenland, and that's cool. Yeah. They were doing their own little reality show and just using Greenland as a backdrop for it.
Yeah.
And that's why I call it cultural strip mining.
Yeah,
just coming in there and taking it. That was terrible.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was stressful. It just took so much time.
And they had you up late with a harpoon, throwing a harpoon, trying to get a good shot of the harpoon being thrown. Yeah. So what do you think about the future of Greenland? And there's climate change. There's a big tourism thing going on. What do you tell us your thoughts about where Greenland is headed?
think the Greenland, it's still where it is, but there's some good changes through the government with the EU,
Okay.
the European Union.
Okay.
There's some military also. Was it a Arctic Military School will be in Gangaktuswak and Police Academy when they close down the airport.
Okay.
So they will become a military school. The Greenland people.
So this is when Greenland is totally independent. They need some sort of military to protect the country, right?
I guess so, but I think they already started this year
Okay.
to take the first students in Gangaktuswak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know right now, but what I can see, it's a lot of the villages are getting smaller and smaller,
Yeah.
and wanted to move to bigger towns like Nuuk. It's a big target for moving.
Okay.
There's a lot of houses needed in Nuuk, but they're trying to build so many
is that
houses.
a good thing or a bad thing or both?
I think it's a bad thing because people like used to love where they're from, the village, and they have like a peaceful life. And moving into a bigger towns, it's a lot of times creates a drama and cultural shock. And I don't think that's a great thing.
Huh.
I think they should just stay where they are from. And I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't move to a bigger town, but I think they are more happier and healthier where the village is.
Right.
Yeah. Like a Nuuk municipality, like have a goal on 2030, trying to get rid up to 30,000 people live in Nuuk. Right now, I think it's just under 20.
So they want to expand to be a bigger city?
Yeah, up to 30,000.
Who wants to do that? Nuuk people in Nuuk or
municipality?
The Nuuk local government.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that means taking off a lot of the village people and moving to Nuuk.
Okay.
That's kind of I mean, Nuuk, it's a good place to live. There's a lot of job opportunities.
Yeah.
A lot of housing needed. A lot of good hunting places. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah.
Huh.
I don't know how to balance it.
Yeah. So, how do you see the interaction between kayakers in America and Greenland? You know, Panakatufiat recognized Kayak USA in 2001 or 2, or whenever that was, after you came in 1998. There have been years when we felt very, very welcomed, and there have been years when we weren't quite sure if they liked us coming here, and it varies depending on the people in charge and stuff. And now, I mean, lately through COVID, there were so few foreigners coming that it didn't come up, and so I seem to think now, at least I get the feeling from the people I know, they're very happy that I'm coming, and it seems to be a good thing. But I think that the exchange between kayakers in America and kayakers in Greenland has had its ups and downs, but I sense that overall it's been a positive interaction. You have any thoughts about that?
I think so too. Yeah, I think Kayak USA did a lot of great to bring some of the Greenlanders there. And I remember Kanet Ketufit used to come to Kayak USA for the Delmarva retreat. I think they're good, and I have a sense of the new president of Kanet Ketufit. She wants to welcome international. When I talk to her, she wants to see more international people.
Okay.
This
is Johanna Tobiasen we're talking about.
Yeah. I think it just, it depends on the people who's willing to put the energy to bring international, because it's could be a lot of work and stressful, but I'm not really into that right now. After I left Alaska, I'm more
Okay.
of being in the nature and peaceful, and instead of being in politics and drama. So find a peace.
Yeah. Well, that's a good.
Yeah, I don't
idea.
even want to compete anymore. I think I lost that. I mean,
yeah?
I'm pretty good in shape after paddling in Ilulissat in
Yeah.
this fjord, but I have
So
no.
it's not so much physically you don't want to compete anymore. It's just that
No.
you're beyond that stage, and now
Yeah.
you can.
I mean, for now, after 4 years left Alaska, that's how I've been feeling. But I try to help, build the kayaks for somebody and help to build them. I'll be supportive, but I don't want to be in between the competition and fights and stuff for politics, and I just don't like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being on the Dubcast with Dubside.
It's been a while to talk with you.
I'm hoping to come to Sissimute next year for the competition, and if you're there, we'll get I'll have another episode with you. We can talk about all kinds of stuff. We could talk for another 2 hours, but we'll stop there. And thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
So there you have Maligiaq Padilla, summer of 2024. And to clarify, when we talked about the cultural strip mining, he said that the film crew was from the Czech Republic, as he remembered, but it was not the Czech Republic, it was some other country. And after I turned off the mic and talked to him a little further, I can see that after 35 years of being the public face of traditional kayaking and having to deal with personality conflicts and internal politics, he's quite happy to step back from that. He's still a kayaker, he'll always be a kayaker, but somebody else can take the spotlight for now. Thank you for listening to the Dubcast with Dubside.